Good morning, hello, and happy Thursday today. So we're continuing on with writing the articles, and I was thinking this morning as I was opening all the stuff, including any type, I was like, I just don't feel like writing in there anymore. The experience isn't getting better. I'm not getting used to it. We're still getting those weird like sort of typing bugs where the cursor doesn't move to the right after the character, which is really annoying. So I wanna move the articles we have right now before we write even more of them, and then we'll just write them in Helix. It'll be fine. So if I go to course articles, I think I can export all of these at the same time. I believe, yeah. Export. Export to Markdown. Include the linked objects. Soapy. Hi. Why don't you come over here? All right, and here's all of these as Markdown files, so we can use this as a basis for wherever we're gonna send things. We might want to create a new sort of Zellage thing for this too. So let me create a new tab for it, and we'll sort of figure out where we want to, like, how we want to put these and how we want to organize them. So these are, I guess, like LMS articles or course articles. Probably want to just copy. Oh, just copy everything to that. I forgot the space. Okay, there we go. Now we see this. I want, okay, so I don't need the Brooks one. Everything else I believe is an actual article. Oh, Brooks builds might not be too. What was done? Nothing really. Oh, it's like some to-do system almost. Okay, so removed all of those, which means just our articles are left. So if we take a look at these, think I want an extra line between them all. Okay, and they put the title of this with a one header. Okay, that's sort of what I was expecting was going to happen. What I can't remember is if my LMS has something like this in there. So let's play with that. Okay, here I am as an author. I want to, for the course, okay, so we have our live course articles. Oh, right, I need to create an article first. This article will be that. Let's see how that feels. And then courses, course articles. Let's add you in here. Oh, right. I don't have the ability to set it as like a I guess I own it, so I can look at it like this. Okay, that's fine. Because I think I'm an author, so authors can see it. So this is an H1, I believe. So this should be an H2. So these should all start with H2s. Which is fine. I'll just do that for the rest of them, but then I think that'll be good. Ooh, so should I do something like shell? Well, I don't know if it's like shell or bash. That might be bash. Oh, that's like, okay. I don't care about that. Oh, that they had like the description there. I don't need that. I'll figure out what to do with the videos later. I don't think I need to add a section for it right now. This one is Rust. Oh, and look at that. Helix knows to give me good colors in there. Oh, that's really nice. Oh, this is going to be Bash. Okay, so there's that. That's good. Now all of these code blocks, I don't think it really matters, but I want them all to be at the far left. So that one's good. That indentation is good. This one is not. That indentation is good. That's good. That's good. You're good. Okay, so everything else should be good. And then this is one of the ones we've had. This one has codes. Let's check this one out. I closed that window, didn't I? I did. So what is this called? This is logging Axum. What? That's all I've got in my, okay. Oh, because I didn't select everything. Okay, I need to select everything, then I can clipboard yank. That would do it. Okay, so if I add you, we go back to courses, you, let's add you in. All right, code looks fine. I mean, it's not the best looking, but it's fine. Oh, it needs to be wider to show up to the right of that. That's interesting. But I think it's going to be okay for getting going. And sure, like the colors look fine there. Okay, I think that's okay. And the links work, so that's fine as well. Okay. What is this? This is just JSON. Okay. So we're good. And so I'll pull in the rest of the articles once I'm done with them, because I'll have the videos added to them. I'll have other things. I'll probably have to delete and recreate those other articles too, which will be fine. Or at least go into the database and update them manually, because I don't have an update function for it, because this is super MVP. All right, so we have that. What was the most recent one we were working on? Cargo Watch. We were still working on Cargo Watch. Okay, so automatically restart your code after a change. Have you ever had this situation? We update our code with a change, hit save, and then go and check the running process to see if our updates have had the effect we wanted. But nothing has changed. The problem still exists, or the new feature isn't working. And then we spend several minutes debugging before we realize that we didn't quit and restart the server, or in some cases, hours. Hopefully not that, but it's happened. Enter Cargo Watch. This cargo command will allow us to launch a command. So that's not right. To, I guess, like run a command. Run a command every time we hit save. We could also just say every time we save. We could also use it to run. Okay, so let's just, we don't need this then. Installing Cargo Watch. There are a couple of ways to install Cargo Watch. Since we have Rust installed, the easiest would be to install through Cargo itself with the command cargo install Cargo Watch. This will install Cargo Watch exactly like, let's just do exactly like Cargo Add. However, it will become globally available as a binary command that you can now use in any project. In any Rust project. AnyType loves adding in like 3 extra spaces to the end of everything. That is something I'm noticing here. Cargo Watch is also available on package managers like Homebrew or Pacman. Brooks recommends, I wonder if it should be like we recommend or Brooks recommends. maybe it should be something like we recommend installing through cargo and cargo. All examples in this article and the course will be using Cargo Watch installed via cargo. Using Cargo Watch. There are two basic use cases. I think that requires a hyphen for using Cargo Watch. Running, okay, so, whoa, what? No, don't replace every character with X. That's not what I want. Okay. Running the cargo command when a file in the project changes. Running a shell command when a file in the project changes. The difference between the two above is the flag that you pass the command. The -x flag, let's wrap that in a. Oh, I should surround it, do the match surround. The -x flag will run a cargo command whenever a file changes. For example, cargo watch -x run will run cargo run every time a file changes in the project. The -s flag, so let's do this. Will run a shell command whenever a file changes. For example, cargo watch -s. Okay, so this is where we ended. And we're going to want to do this. Okay, so right, I think we were trying to decide like what we want to do for this. So maybe I'll just do ls for right now, and if I come up with a better one, I'll use that. For example, cargo watch -sls will run shell command ls every time a file changes. This will print print the list of files in the directory. Now that's interesting. I'm actually curious about this. Which directory will it run in? Will it run in the root of cargo, or will it run where you ran the command? My guess is where you ran the command, but I don't actually know for certain. I guess let's go to playgrounds. All right, so I could do cargo watch -sls. Okay, that gives me that, so we're in there. And so if I want to change, let's open up this, and we write that. Okay, it detects the timestamp change, and so it reran you. Okay, that's understandable. Now, I quit you. See the source. It's still the root. Okay, so it's the root. This will print the list of files in the root directory. Where cargo.toml is. That's actually good to know. So we can have like a shell script in the root that like runs the server, but maybe does some other stuff before it runs the server. And that could, like, then we would potentially want to run that every time, and to know where that shell command is and to like make sure that it's running the way we expect it to. It's just the root of the project. So nice. And I think that's, I don't think we really need much more than this. So if we do something like that, I forgot to put in objectives in here, haven't we? Okay, you will be able to. What will you be able to do? You will be able to, I guess, install Cargo Watch. And then, I guess, 2 use cases for it. So use Cargo Watch to start a Rust server. Or to like, I guess to run cargo run. Okay. All right, so that's objectives, and then I wonder if I want, like, I guess an introduction to this. I could put this in front of the other one. Throw you in there. Then we do objectives, what we're gonna do. Then we go into the sort of like the meat of the lesson. I think that's fine. Which means now that we have this, we can do a video on it. So I feel that like we could just do write things, video, write things, video, write things, video. Also, it won't be quite as boring to watch. All right, I do have you saved, right? Yeah. So desktop audio, we mute. Mic is still active. Okay, so I think I want to hide those. Okay, I think that's good. And then okay, so we can just use this one right here, and that'll be fine. Should I use a different terminal for this? Maybe. Okay, so if I move everybody out, we'll start with. Okay, I'll pull in CargoWat. Okay, we'll pull in Firefox. We'll go to crates, and then we'll open up. I have iTerm, right? Okay, I do have iTerm, so we can use this. And that should be big enough. And I think that's going to look fine. Okay, so we'll use that. Oh, and I should keep you and move you to the right. Kukma, hello, good morning. How are you doing today? Do I know some resource for learning best practices implementing CRUD APIs for SQL Postgres? Like how to put in query parameters, filter, sorting, pagination, exact matching, partial matching. I think what you want is a resource on not CRUD, but I think the terms you're going to look for is REST. So I think I don't. Do I have a? Don't think I have a book on REST anymore. I used to have like a few books that I got from like various meetups and conferences that were like talking about how to build good RESTful APIs. Don't think I have them anymore. So I can't recommend any books. I bet we can find something. So REST standard. Yeah, so the standard name is REST. Let's do REST standard API. And who is really in charge of that? I don't know. Like I went and I think like the one of those books that I got from was from Swagger. I remember like going to meetup talks by Swagger before they got purchased by they got purchased by a company who then got purchased by Google. So this they use okay, OpenAI they it's interesting. So they do it's like REST and other stuff. It's interesting. They have the Open API specification, but that's more for describing and writing what an API does rather than like implementing it itself. But I think the idea is the same. Like in the end, the idea is like they talk about that a lot. So API design. Do they have best practices? Okay, so they're talking about REST here. So that's good. Okay, and they're going all the way back to like now like using nouns and what words you should use in the routes. That this is good. Oh, and they're even suggesting so there's no rule on keeping the resource nouns singular or plural, though it is advisable to keep collections plural, having the same plurality across all resources and collections respectively for consistency is good practice. So I do remember in the talk they talked about this and they said, okay, well, let's think about it. You want to keep the plurality the same every time, and so you have like what it's CRUD things, right? So you're gonna create things and you're gonna read things. So if you want to get all things, but you don't have plural, like get all book doesn't make any sense if you were to say that. But if you wanted to say like create a users, that doesn't sound quite as bad as get all user. So they're like, okay, it's not going to be perfect one way or the other, but they recommend plural because it sounds better in all situations than the other way around. So this document seems to be pretty good. I haven't read this one, but I have listened to or have watched an API talk by them. So it's Smart Bear. So they got sold to Smart Bear now. All right. So it's no longer owned by whoever it was, or they rebranded into Smart Bear. I don't know who they are anymore. I've seen like Smart Bear sends me emails constantly. Uh, I think they're a consulting agency. I've never used them. Somehow they have my work email on my mailing list though. So yeah, this should be pretty good. Have If you've never used Swagger, which it doesn't have to be Swagger itself. OpenAI itself is a really interesting tool to use. It's a documentation tool essentially to describe an API. Let's see, can I do that here? Is there like there's like a try it, right? Oh yeah, open source. Okay, so Swagger editor. Yeah, try Swagger editor. Yeah, here's what it is. So if oh, you already integrate Swagger and Axum already? Well, perfect. There you go. Yeah. Um then you know all about this. For everybody else who doesn't know, Swagger is this tool that you can write. It's this OpenAI which is basically just a standard for documenting what the API looks like, and then you can compile this into a web page that will actually then do your testing, like do your documentation for you. So like you write this out, and we say, okay, I have this paths pet, which they literally don't follow their own recommendations for plurality here. We can say, okay, this is a put. Here's the summary. Here's what it does. Here's a request body. It requires this this schema, which is defined elsewhere. You notice this is all YAML, I think. Yeah, I think this is all YAML. And then if we go and take a look at this, it's like, okay, here we go. There's no parameters. Here's the request body of what that looks like. We can't come in and change that here. Um, Here's what the response should look like. Here's all the codes that you could possibly get. And I believe in here you can do a try it out. So it's like, okay, we can change this. So I want like, okay, category 1 that become dogs like that, and I can, say execute. And then this is what I actually got back. So this documentation tool is pretty good. I've liked it in the past for real API documentation. And then there's tools that people have used to like integrate with Express. It sounds like Kukma, you integrated this with Axum, that basically allow you to write this document once, and then the routes get created automatically from it. And it then enforces. You could even have like middleware that enforces the types and the schemas and other things. It's that could be pretty cool. That might be a bit much. That's definitely more than like what I'm going to be covering in the course, but this is pretty good. So if you're interested in like the editor and playing around with it, here is that. If you have a table with columns ID name, then you write get route. What should query parameter name equals John do? Exact match on row or partial? And how to do both, like name equals John and name partial equals John. So I guess like there's a couple different ways to do about it. We could do name equals John, or you could do name partial. But why don't you do name equals John partial true, with a default being partial as false. So basically, you could just have like flags. Like the name is always going to be name, right? And then you can have like the other flags that say how that name is applied. So what you could do with that is then I guess we could just play around with it here. Uh, where was this? Where can I change it? So put. Oh, there's a way to do the. I forget how to use this. It's been long enough that I forgot how like where I put like the query params in here. It's like I bet there's in here somewhere. Parameters. Okay, and a get. So parameters name status. So we could do something like you have we have like name in the query. Description is search by name. Required is maybe like true. Then we could do name is partial in query. Description is like apply a partial filter to the name when querying for the name. I think that you can do like a default, which is going to be false. Required false, something like that. I think I broke it. Okay, you're upset. Should not have additional properties. All right. Oh, I think. Okay, I'm not allowed to have additional properties here. Okay, fine. But that's the general idea. All right. What do I have? Just you. Does that help, Kukuma? I hope it does. GraphQL comes and sort of throws this all on its head, because then everything becomes a post request. Everything, your like request and the actual query is written on the front end and sent to the back end, which validates the request is okay and then runs it again and runs it, uh, which changes things up a lot. It's things are like basically you're not doing anything semantic HTML anymore at that point in time. You saw some variants like name equals partial colon John. Oh yeah, you could do something like that where then you parse the value of name, and then yeah, I mean that works as well. The big thing is that documenting it and making it excruciatingly clear to the developer who's using this, who yes might be just you, but you in the future will probably forget how this works. So the documentation will be helpful. Um, as long as it's like consistent across the entire application, then that makes it a lot easier for you to deal with later. And then you can use middleware to sort of break that out into essentially a command. So you can use something like, okay, command, yeah, you can use like a custom cert deserialization for it, which of course, again, requires it to be consistent across the entire application. Because that way you can use that same pattern for, more than name, for all sorts of things. This is like excruciatingly bright. I don't like it. I'm gonna go with just a new alacrity window. Oh, I should probably use I should probably use uh code VS Code for it, so it won't even be alacrity window. That's what. But about Rust Swagger, you don't like it. Oh, is that okay? That's too bad. I've not used, so I haven't used Swagger recently. Last time I used it was, I mean, before Open API really became a thing, and I used it in Express. And I mean, I go back and forth. I'm not like 100%. It was like there were some bugs. There's always going to be bugs with software, right? And so like having bugs in something where it's like automatically creating the API is excruciatingly painful to deal with. But being able to hand that Swagger documentation over and be able to say with confidence that 100% this is what the server can handle is amazing. And so I can hand that to the other developers who aren't using the back end, who are using the back end but like don't know how to like read the route tables. The documentation is, they just look at that. That's amazing. That's pretty good. You must manually document it instead of implement some tower middleware or something. Yeah. I feel like the Rust method of documentation would eventually be for us to like somehow put it into comments, which what I would prefer is to like to build out to do the other way around. Build out the server and then have it auto generate the OpenAI spec from that. But again, I don't think that exists yet. That does exist for Express. You can definitely do that with Express because like people have written that. There's so many developers who have used this for that. But we're not there yet with Rust. Um, I don't imagine that can be. It would be that difficult to eventually do. I just write some difficult macro to generate Swagger docs. Yeah, I could see a macro to do that. Basically, well, either a macro or we clone we clone or somehow write something that runs in like the cargo docs. So when the cargo docs compile, if it's an Axum project and if it's a route handler, we want it to sort of run some extra code around that. That could be interesting. But you might be right. It might just be better to write like a macro that like throws things into different files than another script to sort of like compile that all into a single Swagger document. I don't know. I don't particularly hate or like any of the ideas. It's just a lot of them are extra work until somebody decides, okay, I'll do it. I'll I'll be the one to make that project. And maybe it exists and we just don't know it yet. All right, I wanted to open up VS Code for this. So let's quit out of view. Let's open up code here. All right, so we've got, this is our login with Trace and Axum. So we're going to want to run the server, make a change. What change should I run? Oh, I know. We can make the change. We could change the tracing logs. What do I think about the Serde binary optimization idea? So I I appreciate the sort of like the thoughts that went behind it. So it was okay, we can make things very fast if we throw like a pre-created, like a pre-made binary into one of the crates that we're using. However, the project that this experiment was done in was a really, really, really large, huge, um, like big project that's utilized across the entire ecosystem, um, in multiple security areas, and it was done using a patch, um, a sort of like a patch version update, which meant that almost everybody got this binary on their system without wanting to. So if it's somebody like, most of us, it's not really going to matter that much. It comes onto our system. However, uh, government systems, high security systems, so like government, military, various hospitals that do with healthcare, if they're running things and they get sort of like this random binary and there's no way to trace it back to where it came from, this wasn't sort of like part of their security's sort of review of the system. Because that's what would have happened. The security departments would have looked at Serde and say, okay, this is what we're going to get and this is fine. And suddenly now They're getting a binary, which they don't know where it came from. They're not sure what it is. They don't know what it does. It's just there. They're not informed about this because it wasn't like a sort of a major change. Even if they locked down to everything but patches, they would have had to lock down the patch too in order to not get it. That erodes trust in not only Serde, but now basically all developers in the Rust ecosystem, because now they're like, well, what happens if everybody else starts doing that? So it's dangerous. It's like a very dangerous, like slippery slope type thing. So totally understand that there was drama around it immediately. So generally speaking, and each sort of a government and security thing is going to be very different. The most recent document that I went through, which was not too long ago, suggested that if I'm going to get binaries from some other source, which it's okay for it to be closed source, it's okay for me not to inspect the source code for that to have it run on a secure environment. But what I would need is to have the checksums available in a secure third-party way. So if the Serde project has like a secure web application that we could automatically go and grab checksum and hashes from that to validate the that this file is what we expect it to be, and it's not just Serde itself. It has to be now different place than we get the binary from. I think that would be great. I mean, most likely having the option to do one or the other would be probably the best way to do this. But yeah, in the end, totally understand the drama about it. I'm really happy that it got rolled back pretty quickly. I think that I think that if it had kept on going, we were going to see like Serde be rolled into like the Rust project. Who knows? We might still see that happen. This was like, I don't know, like it didn't actually stop anybody from being able to run anything, but it did cause a lot of people to go like, wait a second. So it wasn't quite as bad as like an npm left pad scenario where like just thousands of web applications were just broken instantaneously, but it was a wake up call, and it wasn't a particularly good one. I think the end result is once our packages become big with it, we need to like have more communication with the people who are using this. And which is, I am happy. I don't think I'm ever going to have a crate that's going to be even close to that size. Because I would rather just deal with all of you and just, working with you if I change anything about like a course or something. Not like, okay, 14 governments are really upset at me now. I never want to be in that position. All right. I think I'm ready. I've muted the desktop audio a while back. I turned off the alerts. Okay, I should be good. We're going to do a video recording for Cargo Watch. And I should... There, I can bring up the objectives here and full screen that so I can actually see it. Okay, so should be able to do this, and we can start with that entire like, hey, let's go over this. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Let's go over a scenario that's fairly common. It's hit me quite a bit. I'm guessing it's probably hit you. We have an Axum application or some kind of server application. We run cargo run here. It starts serving our code, and then we decide, you know what, I wanna change some of these messages here. So I go into library. Let's find out, like, I am a warning. Let's change this to be lots of exclamation points. I hit save, and I look down here, and I don't see the change. Well, okay, let's keep on debugging this, and maybe I have to change it. Maybe I don't have to do that. Maybe I have to revert. Maybe I have to do something else. Something's going on. Well, it's because I forgot to restart the server. I need to Control C, rerun that, and okay, now I see that change. Hits all the time. Much easier to see, when it's just a warning or a message here, but if it's actually like a response to an API call, super easy to forget to cancel, to quit out of the server and restart it. So there's a solution for this. We can have a little bit of code watching our files, and whenever anything changes, we'll just restart the server for us. We're going to use something called cargo watch. So cargo watch here. And this is exactly what we want. This is very similar if you've used something like NodeMon with Express or with, I guess, any node-based project. It's exactly the same. It's going to run the code for us. There's, I think, some like very slight differences here, but we're not going to worry about that. So first of all, this actually isn't helping us here. What we really want to do is this cargo install cargo-watch. I'm going to come down here and we're going to install this. I've already got it installed, but it's not really going to hurt for me to reinstall this here. In fact, it says that it ignored it because it's already on my system. Okay, now to run this, there's a couple different things that we can do. Let's run cargo watch -h. Notice I don't need the dash here, the hyphen. I can now do cargo space watch, very similar to cargo add. So cargo watch, we can do -h for help. And if I make the terminal bigger, we can see here's all of our options. Here's our help commands for us. We're interested in the flags. We don't necessarily need to look at right now. You can use this to sort of filter out which things to look at. I generally just am okay with it restarting for any change. I want this -x and this -x here. So X will execute a cargo command. So this would be like cargo watch -x run. So I want it to run cargo run every time that a file changes. Okay, so now if I come up to here, let's do I'm a debug message and add a bunch of exclamation points to that. I hit save, and it restarts that, and we see our exclamation points here. Great. We also have that -s, which runs a shell command. So if we run s, now this is just any shell command we want. So if you have maybe a shell script that you've written that will like start the server but do some other sort of prep work or something else for it, this would be perfect to use. So you can just execute that. I don't have that here, so we're just going to ls. So this is going to run ls every time that a file changes. Okay, that's fairly normal. Note that this runs it in the root of the project every time. If I quit out of here, we cd into source, and I run the same command, it still gives us the result of ls from the root of the project. Something just to be aware of. Anyways, this is I know this is pretty short, but Cargo Watch is a nifty, nice little tool. I'm going to use it consistently throughout the rest of the course, and I just use it all the time in any project that I want to just sort of restart that I could consistently forget to do so. So highly recommended, and yeah, that's all I've got. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. All right, we are done here. So I named this Cargo Watch automatically restart your code. Okay, so you, nope, this keyboard. I'll just name that Cargo Watch. That'll be fine. I need to create a new folder. Let's name this like Axum. I'll name it Axum 2. And then all of this stuff goes in there. At the end of the stream, I take these and I throw them up onto like a Dropbox folder, and that way on my other systems, I can get the videos and sort of like process them eventually. It might take a little bit of time before I'm ready for that though. All right, so that was that. Okay, so we're done with you. We've written an article. We've created a video for it. Perfect. Do I want to do something on cheating? I can do a short video on that, and also a short video on prerequisites. I sort of forgot to do anything there. Let's see. If I had like, do I have like a big cam? Oh, I can turn on these again. I have hanging out. Oh, which is me big, which side is that? This. Oh, there's a oh, it's a this bot? No. What is that? Oh, this it's this. Okay. That's better. All right, so I can do a video just like this when talking about, prerequisites or the cheating one. So, let's see. I don't even have a desktop for this one, so we can just do a straight recording for it. All right, let's do this. How do I want to begin? Like, maybe like thanks for considering the course. Hello, this is Brooks with Brooks Builds, and I want to talk about prerequisites for the Axum course. Uh, Pretty much, I would, no, that, let's try it again. Let's delete that video. I didn't like that. I lost my train of thought, like right in the middle of it. And also I keep on hitting delete on the wrong keyboard. Okay, take 2. Hello, this is Brooks from Brooks Build, and let's talk about prerequisites for the Axum course. I believe that you can get through this course with some rudimentary knowledge about Rust and just sort of understanding or like having used an API. For the Rust part, I recommend that you either have gone through the first 10 chapters or so of the book, and or have the equivalent experience. So if you've been working with Rust, especially at a job, and you've never done API work, that's going to be fine. If you've been learning Rust and you've gone through the book, you've maybe like played around with some little personal projects, I think you'll be fine too. As for sort of having knowledge about how APIs work, having used an API from someone else would be really helpful. And so in that case, this means consuming something like you using GET requests to sort of get information from an API, and then like display it on a front end of some kind. That would be helpful to sort of like have a little bit of context about what we're creating. Obviously, if you've worked with an API in other language, that's going to help a lot. But I'm going to try to describe and have everything you need, sort of that you don't necessarily need that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the course. Bye. All right, so that is. That would be prerequisites. I need to figure out a way to bring this keyboard closer. Okay, so then we can do the note on cheating next. I wonder if I could do... and maybe update the stream deck to have a link to that other scene, the hanging out scene. Let's see if I can find it. It's a scene. Excuse me. When I moved my keyboard, I dislodged some dust on the desk. I need to take care of that. Okay, so scene there. Title, this will be hanging out, or like big camera. Hanging out. Swap those two. Okay, so now I can go like that and that. And that takes off the music and the other thing. Okay, so that's fine. Perfect. So then we can talk about cheating next. And I can just leave this up on this screen because I am not even showing my screen for this one. All right, let's do a quick recording for this. Here we go. Let's talk a little bit about cheating. So, I have a lot of assessments. I have a lot of articles, and I'm going to be asking you to go through the articles, to do the assessments, and to at the very end work on a final sort of project to make sure that you've learned things. And it could, obviously you could go through and have somebody else do some work for you. You could end up asking, getting help, or like maybe just finding somebody else who has done this course and borrowing their work for your own. In the end, this is going to hurt no one but yourself, because you're taking this course presumably to learn how to do something technical, to program something. And it was highly recommended that you do this work yourself, because if you don't, you won't learn it. The person who does will. So if you ask somebody else to do the work for you, you're essentially paying for them to learn this course, which, I mean, maybe what you're going after, but I'm guessing not. So if you're having struggles, if things are not working out very well, please reach out. We can help you out. We can do our best. And in the very worst case scenario, we'll figure out something to allow you to sort of like exit out, and we'll get you a refund. So with that, I wish the best of luck for you, and hopefully we won't ever feel the need to sort of like dive into that cheating. We'll see you further in the course. Bye. I don't really know good ways to sort of end those, especially the more serious ones, where like I don't want full serious look, but also I don't want not serious look either. Okay. For some of these, I'm wondering if I'm gonna end up like, because I'm doing this as a sort of like the initial one is like a live course, but then also you can purchase this just to go on your own. For some of these, I would assume that I'm gonna do some of these live, and then I might just cut those up and then throw them in here as well, like replace the videos, or maybe just have them as alternate views. Okay, so we've caught up with those, which means our next one is going to be this working with JSON. Serde. Which now that Serde package is back, I no longer have to reference the drama in the community, because that was a concern I had, that I was going to have to like say, hey, by the way, we have some fun stuff going on. But now I don't think I need to even mention that at all. All right, so let's figure out what we want to do for this. All right, so let's do working one day. Andrew, hello, good morning. One day since retro. I know it's I think it was like Stacking's like counted down the other day. It's like it's been 0 days since Rest Drama, and like sometimes I feel like, especially with like open source projects, it's like why do we even bother having a counter? It's just every day there's some drama, it feels like. If not in Rust, then somewhere. It's like some project somewhere has it. Working with JSON feels like this is one of those things that doesn't need to have anything to do with Axum. It's like this would be more of like a generic article that could be shared with multiple courses. Have we passed one day yet? I mean, I don't know. Also, good morning stacking. I don't know if we've passed like the full day of it. I would assume that there is some drama somewhere. I just literally go out of my way not to look for it. I figure you all will tell me if there's actually drama that's worth looking at. Maybe I'll just do working with JSON in Rust or something like that. No actions found. Oh, okay. So we need to tell Ranger how to deal with this. I would have I guess like, because it's not text because it's markdown. So, all right. That won't work. I need to. Is there like a reload? Let's reload current working directory. That's not. Is there like a config? No. Alright, there we go. So I want to start with 2. Alright, so we're gonna start with 2. And this, what should we do? You should be, I guess just we'll do the same thing. Working with JSON in Rust. All right. Objectives. Maybe like we could have a brief introduction for something like this. JSON is, I mean, it won't. Is it even possible to say like it's not like anything but it is the most popular? Like, should I think I can safely say JSON is the most popular standard for transporting like data between applications. It is easily serializable between or into like objects in many different languages, and I guess deserializable, right? Deserializable and also serializes pretty easily into a string. That was created for web development. I guess like it sees use like pretty much everywhere. In all corners of like software dev. Something like that. Objectives. Now, of course, this is one of those like it or hate it. I do know that there are some people who are trying to bring back and do what's the other format with the HTML style tags? What is that? JavaScript is it literally is. Even if you're not working with JavaScript, you are often working with JSON, which includes JavaScript. No, not protobufs. It's what's the spec that HTML is a subset of? There's the thing with tags and nested tags. There's oh geez, I don't know why I forgot this. XML, that's it. Yes, XML. Thank you. XML is the XML and JSON were competitors once upon a time, and there was an entire XML conference because that's how big it was. And then JSON came and just ate it. Now there's other ones that are sort of like gaining popularity, but JSON is still by far the most used one, especially if you're creating like web servers. You think XML is worse, but you're too young to know if it was any good. I remember, so as a systems administrator, we used XML, and XML is extremely explicit in what things are. So it's just really tags, and it's just arbitrary tags, right? There's no rules, like just sort of like JSON. Like it's not saying like anything has to be in the root. There has to be one root and one tag at the beginning. Very similar to like, okay, you have to have like a curly bracket. It has to be some kind of object. Things like that. I think that JSON, if you started with XML, you're like, oh, I love this. This is great. This is perfect. I think that's true of most things. Like whatever your first one is, you're like, oh man, I love this. This is great. And then JSON comes along. It's like, okay, well, I have these weird quotes I have to put around things. How do I know when to do quotes? When the answer is just yes. You always put quotes around things. I have to put commas at the end of lines. What's going on with that? It's like, yes, I know. It's like a programming object in a serializable non-programming thing. It's like a data stuff, but it's okay. Commas make sense. Like if we're thinking about CSV, which is another sort of data object that is popular, that has commas at the end. That's fairly common to have. So I think JSON is fine. I like it a lot. I do find it hilarious that people very quickly decided that they would rather use JSON but program in anything other than JSON. So we see tons of non-JSON JSON languages like YAML and TOML. I would not be surprised if there's a YAML. XML really wasn't that bad. It was just used for stuff it wasn't made for. That's usually what ends up happening. JSON has exactly the same problem, where it's like, okay, we're now using JSON in ways that like maybe isn't a good idea for it. Android UI made in XML was poor. Yeah, like using XML was a pure hell. No other way to put it. Yeah, XML to sort of describe like the layout. So the layout in HTML is not bad, but anything else than just pure layout in XML is like not that great. That's the reason why CSS isn't XML, because that would be a nightmare. And we generally want to avoid at least having more than like 3 or 4 nightmares in each programming project we have. Or at least we try. All right. So what are our objectives? What should somebody coming out of this sort of like know and be able to do? I'm like trying to readjust my chair, but I have one of those like sort of like I don't know, like pads, so I can like roll around. But now it's been in this position long enough, it's created like the dents, and so now it's like, okay, I'm gonna move, and like bam, just right back to where I was. Okay, this is cool. This is what I bought the thing for. All right, so what should you be able to do after learning JSON? Oh, I should put this. Okay, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to maybe like sort of I don't think do I need to like even describe describe what JSON is? I don't think I need to. This is more of working with it, right? Oh, and with Rust we now have Ron. Yes, I looked at Ron and I didn't see any compelling benefit to Ron over JSON. Because it's not shareable. Like I can't take that Ron, I have to serialize into something else to be able to use. So I can't just like copy the file and hand it to a non-Rust project. And that's the problem with like a new standard, is that it has a lot of work to sort of get adopted. If we need to describe JSON, then this course needs to be way deeper. That's very true. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that would then be introduction to programming, and then we're making an API as your first program, essentially. All right, I'll cross that bridge if somebody hasn't. I guess like if you've been programming for any amount of time and you have not seen JSON, then I don't know. Should be recognized for that, I guess. Either you haven't done anything of any like importance, or you've been like really stuck in like really old stuff, or like you're way off in like weird, like, you know, an area which doesn't touch data. Maybe you're like in IoT land, or you're in really old things. You're certainly not in web development in any way. Hopefully you're not in SOAP land. I guess if you're in old web development, that would be pretty rough. Okay. You will be able to imagine programming in Python and not noticing the JSON module. That would be interesting if you've been working with JSON, but you never recognized it because nobody told you that it was JSON. I could see that. I could see like a self-taught developer joins a company. The company is using non-JavaScript, so you're never touching it. You're only back end. And you're just like, oh, just load this file up and do that stuff. And you're not really thinking about the fact that it's like a .json. You're just like, oh, well, I never actually looked at the file. I just ran this magic code and it deserialized into an object. You have no clue how you managed to go around SOAP, especially because you've been in a C# shop. Oh, right. Wasn't .NET like primarily SOAP originally? ChatGPT, parse me this file. Oh God. It probably would work too. I've played around with it a little bit. ChatGPT, until it gets like too much history, the first few times it does something, it does a decent job as long as you don't give too big of a history. History will then make it start doing weird stuff. But it was able to create an object that actually made sense and was coherent, as long as it was a simple object. Okay, so by the end of this lesson, you will be able to, let's say, so I don't want you to have to like describe what JSON is. I want you to serialize, or I guess like, let's start with deserialize. Do I need a hyphen in serialize and deserialize? I don't think so, right? So I don't really need this. Maybe I do. I don't know. Deserialize a JSON, probably stringified JSON object into a Rust struct. Serialize a Rust struct into a stringified JSON object. We need to I guess like handle, there's some things that we needed to be able to do with like handling interesting things. I guess like deserialize, oh, not select. Deserialize a string value into a Rust enum. Will I cover transforming in other data types? What are the other data types that we would suggest? Maybe. Like the answer is maybe. So far with web development, I would expect that JSON would pretty much cover us. If I do another course in the future though, especially if I do something where there's like a little bit of game development, something like that, then I probably would need to, because like, for example, in game development, if you do networking of any kind, you don't want to use JSON because it's too big. There's too much just like craft around it. So you just want to like compress the heck out of it and send like the bare minimum. And that's going to be a different data types. Or are you talking about this, where it's like I deserialize a string into a Rust enum? Are you talking about that type of data type? Deserialize a string value into a Rust enum. Serialize an enum. I think an enum will already serialize sort of like auto magically for us. It's the deserialize which may or may not. No, I think that will also work. Yeah, okay, so like your my column type, yeah. It generally, okay, so let's see. I just need to come up with like a good example of this, and maybe something like a color would work. Yeah, we just have to add that in. So like maybe deserialize deserialize a JSON value into a custom type, custom Rust type. Serialize a JSON custom Rust type into a JSON value. Zilby, hi. You want to? Yeah. Are you actually joining us, or are you? No? Where are you going? You're just gonna hang out. Okay. You're gonna hang out of camera view. You can parse configs written in TOML. Well, in TOML, isn't it just? I mean, TOML compiles to JSON. It's been like 2 days, 3 days. Zilby just discovered that I put the sound dampeners down here, which I find it's hilarious. Cats normally are so curious and like so good at exploring things, and like Zilby goes back and forth between like instantly knowing when there's a difference in the environment to like, what? This thing changed? When did it change? It's like, it's been there for a week. He's like, what? I've been in this room like 5 times. I find it kind of hilarious. All right. Well, he's standing. He's gonna go hang out under the desk, so we can't see him. I guess we'll start with this. So let's do. All right, so we have objectives, and let's do like introducing like Serde. So using Serde to deserialize. Maybe I'll just do like introducing Serde. Serde. Arguably one of the best crates to use to work with JSON is Serde. Interesting. Now, if I do this and I like, can I go to that? Like it finds that in the file. Interesting. But I don't think I can like navigate there, can I? It's not like go to reference doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know how this would work here. Oh no! What was that? They do have a Serde book. I forgot about that. Also, I am going to add this into the whitelist so that way you can safely share that again. Because Serde.rs is absolutely allowable. Okay. Try that link again, Andrew. It should now no longer time you out. Perfect. Okay, yeah. So Serde.rs is a book. We could. That's gonna like have a lesson on how to use it a lot better than I can write it, and it's gonna be kept up to date. And they threw the decresting, the Serde crate. Oh man, that's like a top level video. That is awesome. Yeah, and you can do all the data formats. So if I go to JSON, oh, that pulls me here. Okay, I thought it was gonna like maybe pull me to like documentation on JSON. So is there... This wouldn't necessarily be good to sort of like send somebody to. I don't... Right away. Maybe like using derive, like go read that. You can parse a URL using Serde. Yeah. I don't think I've done that. I think I used URL for that. Yeah, Axum I think uses Serde. Well, I mean that's the reason there was that drama, right? Because like so many projects use Serde behind the scenes for us. All right, we're gonna start with just typing in Serde here. I guess this is all part of Serde.rs. They just have a list of things there. That's fine though. So arguably one of the best ways to work with JSON is Serde. They have a Rust book, or they have like an online book showing how to use Serde at please read through the following, at least the following pages. To learn how to use, I guess like to learn, sort of like to get a good understanding, to learn how to use Serde, to learn enough Serde. How to use Serde in a web like context. Okay, so what are the different pages that I think are super important? I don't know if this is like theory, so I don't think this is all that interesting. Using derive, I think, is good. I don't know. Like this book, I wish it had like a really, really, really good, like super introduction to this. I don't see that. Like these are great. You know what I feel? I feel I'm gonna have to send them. I'm gonna have to send learners to here after learning, like the bare minimum of Serde. And then this will all make sense. Okay, so that's what we're gonna have to do. We have to do an introduction to Serde. Okay, arguably one of the best crates to use to work with JSON is Serde. Let's not even mention this yet. Okay. All right. So we can use Serde to serialize. Do you think I need to go into definitions of like what serialize and deserialize mean? I might need to, because if you've not worked in web development, or maybe even if you have, but you haven't really like done API stuff, I don't know if you've like run into that word, or maybe you have, but you don't really know what it means. So like, describe what serializing and deserializing means. Or I guess like describe serializing and deserializing. So serializing, or what is? What is deserializing anyways? When we here, like when we say we are serializing or deserializing something, we are talking about, I should look at the exact definition of this before I like say something that's not correct. Let's go find the Wikipedia article on it. In computing, serialization, or serialization, what? With an S? Is that real English? Is that a thing? Hold on. Oh, it's British. Okay. I should have guessed. It's the alternate English spelling of it. Okay. Thank you, Mike. Yes, that's it's the other English. It's the other English. Or maybe my English is the other English. But whatever it is, it's other than whatever I'm using, which is this one. Okay, so it's the process of translating a data structure or object state into a format that can be stored or transmitted and then reconstructed later. Okay, so that's what I sort of like figured. So when we say we are serializing or deserializing something, we're talking about converting the thing into So let's actually do like talking about serializing. Maybe we'll start with that. We're talking about serializing something. We are talking about converting the thing into something. It's okay. So into a state that can be stored on a disk or sent over the network. In the case of, or rather like objects, like complex objects, like structs, enums. I guess like arrays are maybe okay. Like complex objects like structs or enums aren't real. Bullfirstad, hello. Your friend wrote a base 64 decoder in some weird language yesterday that's not even readable. Oh, something called Unix DC. I'm not familiar with that. What is Unix DC? Desk calculator. It's a cross-platform reverse Polish calculator which supports arbitrary precision arithmetic. Some old language that was used for writing the Unix calculator, I guess. Yeah, we could take a look. I bet. Well, I mean, this is okay to multiply 4 and 5 in DC. Really? This is showing that you have a file. In the file, you put 4 space 5 space star, a P. Yeah, this would be much better to use as the example. Is DC, do I have? We do have DC. So if I do like 4, 5, 4, 6, let's say. Oh, is it process? Is that like, okay, so I could do like 4, 6, 4, 5, star, P. Yeah, okay, so it's, you need the P, so it's, yeah, if you write anything complex, this is going to be completely unreadable because everything is just like little shortcuts. So it's like, okay, you have like the numbers to do something. You probably can get variables. It's not semicolon ended, but it's command edited. So like instead of a semicolon, you have P for process that. Throw that Python calculator away. It's so stupid, but he guess it's fun. I mean, this is what you had to do back in the day. We have Python calculator home. Put this away. Well, like this type of thing is if you're, so imagine this. DC, I believe you're going to have on every single Unix-like system. If you're SSH'd into a server or you're on some like unfamiliar computer and it doesn't have Python, it doesn't have anything, probably has DC, you need to just do some very basic math, this is what you need to do, especially if you're writing a shell script to do some math. You'll write it in this, right? Because Q for quit. I could probably write a shell script, then like takes in, let's say I have 1 equals, so we have 1, 2 equals 2. And so then can I do something like echo 1 2. I want to, we could do multiple, I can do addition. Oh, and then end. Pipe that to DC. And that gives me 3. So if you ever need like write a shell script and you need some kind of math type thing, and you only need it for like one line, and you're gonna pull in Python just for that one line, that's probably not really that helpful if everything else is solved much better with Bash. So just use DC in that specific case. But if you need to like write an entire complex program and there's a lot of math in it, then yeah, let's pull out a better tool for the job. Echo, and then sort of like double 239 times 30. The double parentheses is cursed. What does that do? Let's try it. So if I do echo, what? This runs does that run the thing? I can't remember. What does that do? Just copy paste it. Here, we'll do 239. Oh, it executes oh, right. So this is the other way to doing math. So here we could do that, or you could do echo, and then this would just be 239, 30 times P pipe DC. Which one would you prefer? I can't remember. Can I don't think you can put it in here, right? Yeah. So it's not happy with this. And that one is like, it's not done. You have to like tell it it's done. First one by a mile. Yeah. So like then you're just gonna get double parentheses everywhere. Fine, okay, we'll just do that. I can't bring back DC and make people start using it. Complex objects like structs or enums aren't real. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Aren't like are only readable in Rust. Nothing else like knows what to do with it. To make this data portable, we turn it into a string. I guess like we turn it into a what is it called? What is like one of the really basic types? It's not a scalar type, maybe. Also, toaster, whatever. Hello. So a scalar would be like a single type, like a single thing, like one thing. Oh man, now I forget. Now I have to go look it up. Let's go into Rust lang. No, not that. Lang. Primitives. That's what it is. We have to turn it into a primitive. So we have to turn it into a primitive type to store and transport. Because like if it's a number, that can be stored, that can be transported. But if it's like some object, it's like, well, I don't know what to do with that. By far, the most popular, by far the most popular, sort of like structure method for storing complex data structures for transport and storage is JSON, which is JavaScript object notation. We could can go get like there's a JSON website that defines that, right? So there's json.org. Oh, this website, I remember this website hasn't changed at all. This website's still as ugly as it's ever been. But it gets the point across. JavaScript object notation. Yeah, JSON hasn't changed either. That's very true too, JWall. Also, hello. How are you doing today? Oh, right. There's BC instead of DC. Yeah, BC might have been the one I was thinking of more. Yeah, BC might be the better choice. Because then we can just do something like this. Echo 1 plus 2 pipe to BC. Assuming that I don't miss a double quote. Yeah, okay, this is probably better. If you need math, pull out BC. Especially if it's simple math and like a shell script, use that, don't pull out Python. Taking a break from doing some C# saw Rust stream. Awesome. Well, glad to have you here. We are kind of working with Rust right now. I am building a course for Axum, and I'm writing articles for it. So it's not exactly code right now, but like sort of working on figuring out like how to teach these things to somebody who may or may not have worked, like has started working with Rust a little bit, but may not like fully know what a lot of these things are. You're gonna try writing a base 64 decoder in C. Does C come with that? Like, isn't there a library, like a standard library for that in the standard headers? Or is it like a challenge? Use Axum for personal projects. It's still interesting. Awesome. Well, we're on JSON. I'm doing working at JSON. Here's the plan so far. All of these sort of like circles are articles, sort of like lessons for it. The check marks are indicating like how far I progressed into it. We've already created all the assessments for it. And the rest is like write the articles to learn it, and then also create a video for it too. Sinkovich, hello. How are you doing today? Is the course available now? No, it is not available now. But everything that has like a sort of a check mark here that you can see is I have like done something about it. So if you like peruse through GitHub, which I think I have a link in my description on Twitch, or you sort of like watch through VODs, you can basically find most of these things sort of buried somewhere. I'm not necessarily making it really easy to find because I want like it is going to be a paid course. So a lot of the stuff is done live on stream, but also like that's the free tier is okay, you get a work of going and finding the stuff, or you have to watch live as we're creating it. And then paid tier is you just don't have to do any of that. Okay. So it's a challenge. I mean, that sounds fun and interesting. That also sounds like the type of thing you might run into in a coding interview. Like okay, tell me how I would create a base64 decoder or encoder. But I'm curious, why C? Okay. By far the most popular method for storing data, complex data structure for transport and storage is this, which is the data structure or like format, which is the format we'll be using in this course. And as a web developer, what we most often run into. Okay, it's only because your friend wrote it in Unix DC, you want to see if you can do it in C. Oh yeah, I mean, if they wrote it in Unix DC, I'm sure you'll be able to write it in C. C is just your main language. Oh, it's your only language you ever use, really, outside of Python. Okay. And Python makes it too easy. Well, I mean, there is that. If you want to go for a challenge, then obviously, you pull that out. I am perfectly fine with using the easier stuff. Okay, so what is deserializing anyway? So when we say we're serializing something, we're talking about converting the thing into a state that can be stored on a disk or sent over the network. Complex objects like structs or enums are only readable in Rust. Nothing else knows what to do with that. To make this data portable, we turn into a primitive type to store and transport. Let's see. In the case of structs and enums, this will be a string. By far the most popular method for storing complex data structures for transport and storage is JSON, JavaScript Object Notation, which is the format we'll be using in this course and as a web developer, what we most often run into. I think that answers that question, right? So now you should be able to describe, I guess like, I never actually like answered the question directly, right? So serializing, so like, I guess like, therefore, so like taking this into account, considering this, or this means then, I'm not sure what to say. So like this means that serializing something is converting a program, like an object in, should I say data structure, or like, oh, converting data into a primitive value like a string. For example, let's take a look at a Rust object. Not super, like, so Helix here is telling me, okay, it wants to create this like fourth tilde. I'm not sure like the best way to sort of work with that. Not just say it. Serializing is, deserializing is, the extra stuff at the beginning. Okay, that's a good idea. So we should say like serializing is converting. Okay, there we go. So serializing is converting data into a primitive like a string. There you go. I like that. Thank you for that. That's awesome. All right, so let's take a Rust. We have a struct of like maybe a person. We have like a name, which is going to be a string. We have an age, which is a, I guess they could be like, let's do like a U. I could do U32, a U8, and maybe a favorite color. If I just do this, this might be okay. Let's take a look. Object. After serializing this to a to JSON, this will look like all right, we have name. That's a string. Okay, so hold on. So let's let John. Okay, so if I do that, name is now John. Age is 29. Depending on your audience, you may want to say that serialization is converting data into a primitive using an encoding. In this case, the encoding is JSON. Right, yeah, that's good. Okay, so serialization is converting data into a primitive, and so it's like using an encoding, using an maybe I should say like encoder. Well, maybe not. It's like not a thing. So maybe it is encoding. Yeah. So using an encoding, it's almost like a standard, right? Oh, like into a primitive like a string, using an encoding. I don't like that either. But I also introduced JSON up above here. So like maybe I should say, okay, turn to a primitive type to store and transport this. To store and transport, in this case, so I could say the data is encoded. I know I don't want to take it down. Like I don't want to go too far into confusing. It's like I feel that there's going to be plenty of students who know what JSON is. They know this stuff. Probably even know Serde if you've used Rust for long enough. And it's going to be, okay, I know this, and they can just skip this lesson, and I'm okay with that. If you know this, you're going to do this. For everybody else, or if you've somehow managed to never use JSON ever, this is for you. Okay, so the data is encoded. Again, the data is stored using an encoding. For this course and most of web development, the encoding is typically JSON. And then we can come here and say JSON is by far and most the most popular method for encoding data structures for transport and storage. Oh, okay. Okay, so JSON is by and far the most popular method for encoding data structures for transport and storage, which is the format we'll be using in this course, and which I already mentioned up above here. Yeah, I like this a lot more. Okay, so I mentioned it here, and then we talk about like, hey, I just dropped this JSON thing. If you're curious about that, here you go. Okay, so serializing is converting data into a primitive, like a string using encoding. For example, let's take a look at a Rust object. After serializing this to JSON, this will look like this. And is that it's not like really fully correct, because this will be a string like this too. But I guess like, okay, so after serializing this to JSON, this will look like this. JSON is this JSON is now ready to be written to disk or sent over the network. Deserializing. Oh, I believe so. I think I have the playground set up to allow that. We'll find out fairly shortly, right? Oh yeah, we're good. Yes, we have useRday serialize, useRday JSON. Okay, so we derive serialize. We have that struct person, and then okay, so let John equals person. Yeah, so you like your name, you're two stringing it. You have your age, and then you print line sorted JSON to string, and then you pass it in a reference to John. Unwrap that, and then that's what you get. Yeah. Yeah. I wish this gave like attributes to like a user or something, because then I could just say like, hey, go take a look at this. But what I can do, I think we can. This just exists forever, right? This is just gonna always be there. Because if it's always gonna be there, that's a great example. That's like perfect. So when I get into like the using survey down here, I think we can do like a link to, hey, play around with this on Rustlang, and I could just link that. And I'll say, let me know what name you want as attribution for that. I mean, yeah, that could be nice too. If in one of those tools, is it like permanent where you can? Oh, Danaka, hello. You redeemed Quack. I need to open up. Oh, I forgot to like actually load that up here. Okay, so I was gonna figure this out, how to do the Quack, and then I forgot to look it up. And I loaded it up on this computer, and then I just realized that it's on the other computer that will hear it. So I need to. Did I not save it? Oh, I did. Okay, so it's in my history. Okay, where is my? Here we go. I need to turn on the audio for this. Oh, we need to turn off the music. So what I haven't figured out is how to automate this yet. I want to make it so that eventually one day we can have like the redeem thing, and then we'll just have like this pop up or something like that and play the sound. But here. Thank you, Danaka, for making this also. This is just fun to look at. I have actually some rubber ducks around. I'll turn you back on. And you're back to this. I'll need to set up a Stream Deck to help out with that too. Oh, it would work if the GIS lasts forever, which GIS generally do, right? Because you could lock it to a version. Oh, yes. That would, yeah, that would work. That would work really well. All right. You're right, Jaywall. Yeah, I've never seen them expire as and GitHub has never like dropped it. Although I don't think they've really done much to GIS. Like they've not really done anything to that feature. Danaka was I hope that was good. I like the project. The crack makes me smile. I just don't have a good automation for it yet. Maybe after our course, we'll like, maybe we'll figure something out. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so deserializing is converting is the reverse of serializing. We take a an encoded primitive like a string and turn it back into a struct or an object, back into a complex data type. In the case of the example above, we would take in the JSON and turn it into an instance of a person. Okay, that should work. If you want, I can add username as it's just your name. Okay, yeah, we could do that. I can definitely do that. All right, so let me, before I forget, let's like throw something down here. So we'll do example of, or I guess like play around with serializing. Is it just serializing? And did you change the link? Is it still this thing? Or is it a new link now? Oh, I see. Yes, to a guest. So perfect. So play around with serializing at the Rust playground. Is it? Yeah. Play around with serializing a struct. Play around with serializing a Rust struct in the Rust playground. Written by. All right. Is that two eyes? Did I get that right? All right. If I got that wrong, please let me know. And we'll make sure that this now written by, I guess, let's add written by community member. That. So it's more than just some random person. Like you're a member of the community. Okay. Turn instance of person. Okay, so that's that. Introduction to Serde is next. Oh, and it's 8:30, so we're getting close to being done for the day too. Arguably one of the best creates to use to work with JSON is Serde. We can use Serde to serialize and deserialize JSON easily, especially when we use the macros. So okay, read read the introduction, read the installing thing. Okay, so there's the overview, but that doesn't really explain how to like get started with Serde. Yeah. So okay, so it's not pulling the macros yet. So maybe more like, okay, so arguably one of the best ways to use work with JSON is Serde. And then it's gonna be we want to uh, probably manually do the we just want to use the we never want to not use the derives, right? So will this show, is this a good one for installing derive? Is that right? Oh, it is 1.0, so that would work. So this includes like any patch version, but not any minor version. As a dependency in cargo to toml, ensure that all other Serde-based dependencies, for example, Serde JSON, are in a version on structs and enums that you want to serialize. Import the derived macro as use Serde serialize. Okay, so that's fine. Similarly, import. Okay, so yeah, I think this will be fine. So, read how to like add Serde to your project, and let's see. This even has like the serialize, okay, and serialize, deserialize a struct at the Serde book. Okay, so the rest of the documentation is great for referencing how to use Serde, and discovering like what you can do with it. Okay, so there's that. So like go and like read this here. What else? I guess like that gets you set up with serialize and deserialize. So if we look at our objectives, we now can describe thing happens here. You can now deserialize a JSON object into a REST struct. You can serialize that. Custom Rust types. Okay, so that would be the next thing. So custom, I guess like serializing or handling custom types. And I'll just throw like a to do in here. Ha, that's not really gonna work. But it should hopefully remind me. that this is where we're going to come back to, because it is the end. It is 8:37. We only have a few minutes left for a special customization, and I'm probably going to do. Yeah, I'll have to like custom sub. I'll have to figure out something to do with this. Thank you, JWall, for hanging out. Have a great rest of your day too. I'm gonna be bouncing as well pretty soon, so I'll be back tomorrow morning. I'm doing these live streams every weekday morning, starting at 6 a.m. Mountain Time, and then just sort of like varies how long I can do it based upon the day. So tomorrow we should be able to go through until around this time, 8:30 to 8:45, before I have to head off to my day job. So with that, thank you everybody for hanging out. I'm gonna go ahead and head out for the morning. And I will see you all next time. Bye.